As Naveen mentioned, Web3. Amit, what are your thoughts on Web3 and how we can move and how it's evolving?
Yeah, so like we discussed, Web3 is powered by blockchain, basically, right? And I mean, it is more than just the tech, obviously. Web3 is a whole movement, it's a whole, ethos and stuff like that. But keeping that aside, specifically, with blockchain and with, tokens and things like that, Web3 is a very specific crypto universe or set of crypto universes, right? And so I like to think that from a business standpoint, technology should not become something that you need to think about, right? Like it should be out of the way. It should be invisible. And right now, blockchain is far from invisible, right? It's like everyone's got to have their own wallet. It's complicated shit. We don't know what's happening. Like it's a very complex set of things that my mom will never do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Robert D'Alessio, and I'm the host of Rob's Inner Circle, broadcasting worldwide. I would like to welcome each and every one of the audience members who are tuning in from all over the world, and especially to our audience tuning in from India on this special show. It's at a special time. It's 9 p.m. here Eastern Time, 6:30 a.m. back in India in Bangalore, and from the Bay Area, it is 6 o'clock p.m. right now. Lots going on, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'd like to give the usual shout out to the producer of Rob's Inner Circle, Jenny Duhame, and to the podcast technician, Patty, Ladies, Starlight, Saragosa. Be sure to watch Daily Struggles, the sitcom everyone is talking about, on the Rise Up TV channel and the Roku streaming service. Download the Roku app on your smart devices, or you can get your Roku stick on Amazon.ca. Make sure to watch all of our productions on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. Comment, share, click on the like button, and you want to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every time there's a new production coming out, you will be the first to know. Folks, it's that time once again. It's time to slip into your pajamas, get that glass of wine, take it easy, kick up your feet on the edge of the table, and let us carry the load. Folks, it's showtime. It is time to bring on our two exciting guests. Our first guest is coming to you from Bangalore, from the southern part of India, where it's a little bit cooler. It's not as warm as it is in northern India. Bangalore, coincidentally, is widely regarded as the Silicon Valley of India because of its role as the nation's leading information technology exporter. And the role of this guest is she's the head of marketing, growth strategy, planning at Awake. She also has a role including interviews, podcasts, etc. And she's the head of education. And our second guest is coming to you live from the Bay Area, San Mateo, California. To be precise, he is from India. He came to the US with a dream, and he's also the creator and the founder of the Awake Network. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us bring on tonight's guests, Kratika Shrivastava and Amit Rathore.
Hey guys.
Thank you so much to both of you for being on our show.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks so much.
Man, you're a very brave girl, Kratika. 6 a.m., 6:30 in India right now. It must have been a little tough getting up.
No, that's okay. It's not been so tough. It's a usual timing. Not too far from my regular waking up time.
And we are convinced we're going to have a huge audience tuning in from Bangalore and all over India and all over the USA. Kratika, let's get to know you a little bit. So tell us, where are you from?
I am right now in Bangalore, India. That's in the southern part of India.
Okay, and tell us what your industry background is.
So from by education, I'm a mechanical engineer. I did my master's from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India, and then I moved to Bangalore.
So, being in the technology industry, have you been involved in other projects in the past outside of the work you do today with Amit?
I am an entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneurial journey back in 2018. Me, along with the co-founders and our team, we had a startup in education technology, and we met Amit in the in the course of the journey. That's how I got to know him.
So, Amit, you're from India as well. Which part of India did you originate from?
I actually grew up in Bangalore as well.
Oh, so you guys, as I don't know how you would say it in Punjabi or Hindu, but in Italian we would say paisanos. You guys are paisanos from the same place. So,
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
let me tell us when you left India, what was the dream? When did you leave, and where did that dream take you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I left when I was 22. I moved to first Chicago because I was working for a consulting firm, flying out Monday to Thursday, doing the corporate management and technology consulting bits that really sort of taught me a lot about business and so on. Very good, time spent in my 20s doing that. And but my dream really was to come to the valley and to kind of create something that would have a big impact on the broad society, and internet, being one of the key um, aspects of societal infrastructure. I kind of gravitated towards that. It's always been a dream to work on large scale infrastructure for internet platforms. That's always been what I've wanted to do, and I've been doing that for a long time now.
So, Amit, you're the founder of AwakeVC. What is the meaning of AwakeVC? One would think VC stands for venture capital, but I have a feeling it's a more in-depth meaning.
Awake VC stands for Awakened Value Co-Creation. It's a collective for people to come together, entrepreneurs, operators, people of all, aspects of doing business, to build and grow companies. So it's also to invest, to innovate, to rapidly add value and create new value. It's a platform of sorts that allows everyone to participate in what I see as the new internet economy that's coming upon us very, very quickly.
So, talk to us about the network, when it was created, and how you were inspired by this project.
It's relatively new. We're a young company. It's about 3 years old, and we have several technology components that we're working on. It's a venture studio, so we're working on a variety of very interesting, what we call protocols, which do specific things on the internet. For example, buying is a very general abstraction that everyone is familiar with. Everyone buys stuff. Selling is another thing. Authenticating, storing data, putting things into a cart. These are all standard things that everyone understands and is expecting most platforms to be able to do. So we provide this new infrastructure to build out these companies and experiences and whatnot, almost like Lego blocks for businesses and for internet companies to be built by anybody who understands what they want to do from a business standpoint. You want to abstract away the technology part of what this internet is all about, what this internet platformization thing is all about. So that's really what yeah, it's a little bit early. So people now have been last one year or so, a little bit, have been since the technology got into a stage where we were doing early alpha testing, beta testing, and now early access to several people around, many, I mean, almost several hundred people around the world that are now doing very exhaustive, um, early build outs of their businesses and new ventures on the technology.
So, Kritika, tell us how many networks have been launched on AwakeVC so far?
I think a little bit less than 2 dozens so far. We have a great set of people running all these networks, and they are into different verticals, different variety. You have health, you have entertainment industry. We have a lot of things going on in different verticals. But yeah, so far a little bit close to 2 dozens.
A platform like Amazon, for example, just to name them, because I guess it's more, and I'm a huge Amazon consumer myself. Could such an entity become part of Awake one day? Either Amit or Kritika.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, sure. I mean, anyone can become part of the protocol. So it's a question of participation, right? If I want to participate in any community today or any network on the internet today, there's a way to do that. So anyone can connect to these protocol layers. Like for example, Shoptype is a specific retail focused platform that anyone can connect. It's a wallet that you can sign up for, and you start effectively getting sales out of this wallet. You just sort of plug in your existing stores. For example, you have a Shopify store, you have a WooCommerce store. So you just literally plug in to this wallet once you sign up for it, your business. And anyone else now who also has this wallet can, share information about it, or, join your community and bring other people into it. And whenever a sale happens anywhere now, based on what they're doing about talking about your business or talking about your community on the internet anywhere, and when people come in, engage and all that stuff, typically what happens, right? All that stuff's going on. Now, when suddenly somebody buys something and profit is generated, and if you were a part of it, your wallet gets credited instantly. So you don't even need to know what's going on and when your content gets used for somebody's benefit. But the minute there is a benefit to the end customer, the entire chain of value is shared and fairly distributed into the wallets. So that's one example of what Awake is bringing to the universe. And these are components that anyone can use in their networks, in their businesses, and so on.
So, Amit, to continue, how does this model differ from other models we've seen on the internet in the past?
Yeah, it's a fundamentally different model, because we are, rather than imagining that people buy because they have been sold to, we realize the fact that people buy when they're ready to buy. They make a buying decision based on their buying journey, where they're deciding, they're being influenced, they are effectively being educated, or whatever the situation is, before they make a purchase. And this happens today across the internet using different media platforms. You find things on Facebook, you find things on Twitter, you find things in so many places. And now there's Web3 platforms that also do the same thing, but in a different technology powered way. So all of this is happening. And today there is no way to track exactly how a buyer journey happened, because all the platforms are their own kingdoms. They don't share data. So if a business wants to understand how a particular person navigated the social universe before coming to the store and making a purchase, as in how did they discover and then become aware of the product, and maybe they engaged a couple of times and then they finally made a purchase. All this is happening on different platforms based on the content you share, right, on YouTube and Facebook and all these other places. And as people are doing all of this, you lose control of that valuable insight as to how your business is really being engaged with by the people out there, your audience, right? You don't really have a universal single view of your own business network because of all the platform companies.
Okay, so what does your ideal network look like?
So because of this situation I described, your ideal network should seamlessly, unlike what's happening today, totally fragmented and so on, it should seamlessly work across the so-called internet, all the platforms. I should be able to see exactly how my content and my people are interacting anywhere and everywhere. I should be able to see how, when a sale happens, who are the 3 4 people, for example, who maybe over a period of 3 months or whatever, you know, interacted with the particular buyer. You know, somebody made him or her aware of the product or service at some point of the community, and then at some point they engaged with somebody else, and then a month later they engaged somebody else, and a week later, and finally they made a purchase. There were 4 people involved. These are all my people. They're my business people ultimately, because they're, you know, interacting with potential customers. Therefore, I should be able to track this, and when a sale happens and I make $100 profit, automatically these 4 people should get paid out a fair share of this $100. Today, what happens? Platforms take everything. They first of all take 30% straight as a transaction fee. You know, the podcast subscription, if you finally manage to sell one, they're going to take 30%. For what? You tell me, right? So that is what we are talking about. And then on top of that, you have to drive advertising. How much did you spend to drive traffic for this event, for example? And do you know all the clicks that came through? And do you know the clicks that all the people you paid for? Now, who are those clicks? If I ask you who are those clicks, 100 clicks that you got, you don't know the answer. You know, you only maybe know the 1% who converted and who are now maybe watching the show. But all the other people who also you paid for those clicks, where is that data?
So on the Awake network, you have all this information.
The internet economy is for everybody, not just for platforms, right? So we are inverting the platform economy. Everyone now can do what I just described. Everyone becomes effectively their own platform, their own network, their own, real entity on the internet, on the multi-channel multiverse, which is coming. I mean, the metaverses and augmented reality and all these platforms and blockchains and all this fragmented internet, which is and the physical world, not to mention, right? You want to go to all the places and interact with businesses and people. So the real world, the digital world, the virtual world, all of these are together the multiverse. And you want to be perfectly seamless and it should just work. That's what the internet had promised. What happened? It's 40 years ago, right?
So they didn't live up to their promises.
So finally, that missing infrastructure layer that allows one to see exactly what's going on with my own business network and my own business content and my own creation on the content, my network, my people, my relationships, all this stuff on the internet across all the platforms, I should directly be able to leverage, and people should directly be able to leverage with each other, not through the platforms.
We have a question for the audience here. Do you engage in an affiliate program or engage on community platforms? Have your say.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. So effectively, what you see today is when you want to make a sale on the internet, there are two options. You either prepay for the sale, like an advertisement type thing, where you have no guarantees. You pay, you hope that a 1% conversion happens like normal or better, and then you win, right? Like you have a cash flow situation that supports that. And you must have money to actually get that started. So that's prepaid. Postpaid is like an affiliate model where you have people share codes and so on. And there's cookies and all this complicated stuff today that, again, why? Because the platform companies don't share data. So you have to have a third party way to track who did that, sale, who managed to do the sale. So that is the affiliate model. And it's a retail affiliate model, which means, like I just said, it's a reseller model. In other words, the business model is of selling. I'm a person who can sell something. I make $100, and guess what? You're my affiliate. I'll make 20. You make $20 or $10. Out of my this thing as an affiliate of my network. But you also have to make a sale to earn it. So we're both selling, basically. You're a salesperson. I'm a salesperson, and that's the model. If you don't make a sale, you don't get paid. even if you generate 100 engagements, 100 people you talk to, only 1% actually buy. So you spend time talking to, Kratika for 2 hours and she doesn't buy. And then a week later, she comes and talks to me for 10 minutes and buys. I get all the credit. Right? And you have talked to all these people. And so have I. I've also talked to lots of other people who I don't get credit for because they buy tomorrow, because it's a natural buying journey. So who's taking advantage of this fact? The platforms. They don't want to share the data. They want to take credit for everything. So this is the current model. With affiliates, you have to make the sale and you're at the mercy of that affiliate fee, whatever it is, from the retailers, whoever is sharing. Like Amazon shares 3% on average, 4%. It's pretty awful, right? We share on average 30, 40, 50% of sales. How? Because we're direct. The manufacturer practically can drop ship the product. So you're compressing inefficiencies across the entire chain. Marketing budgets, wholesale, retail, and that's called DTC, direct to consumer. But it's not going away, the old model, because you need distribution. Therefore, the margins exist. So therefore, what happens is your entire universe becomes your distributor. In other words, everyone's your reseller, number one. But the main innovation is, because we are going so far beyond tracking, you don't have to make a sale. You will still get paid. I will tell everyone, do not sell. No selling. As a co-seller, you will get paid for not making any sales. How? Because your content that you're creating and sharing and inviting people and all this community engagement that you're doing, it's driving what? What does engagement means? What? It's driving clicks. So on the internet, across the platforms today, across social media and all, TikTok and YouTube and Twitter, Snapchat, people are clicking, discovering, and there are bots also. There are bots and fraud clicks and stuff. So throw those away. Who cares, right? But people are clicking. And when people click and buy, typically on a buying journey, now automatically the people in the chain are getting paid directly in their wallets. How much? 20, 30, 40, 50% of the sale.
That's amazing.
Without causing a sale. I don't have to tell you to buy a single thing. I just have to talk about how great this community is and what fun we're having and what a great network it is and what cool things there are and events and have fun and this and that. And that's about it. I get paid on the house for inviting and dealing and sharing and creating content which works for my community.
Wow, that's totally amazing. Kratika, tell us, is the platform that you're using unique, or are there similar platforms out there that compare to Awake?
So this tracking mechanism that Amit had talked about so far, so that has been one of the major USPs of our platform. And this is something which has not been done so far, which nobody which has not been done universally, and this is something new. The business model or the basic aspect of it is common. That's how people work. That's how sale or people engage and engage in a community. Even in the real world, even in the offline world, you talk to people and then you get to know the information, you get to know the value of the product, and then you make an informed decision whether you want to buy something or not. That's how people engage. This is something which has been there so far, been there like since civilization existed. But to bring that onto the online, onto the digital platform, to bring that capability of tracking each and everything, tracking all the engagements, tracking all the interactions on all the various platforms, on all over the internet, that is something so unique. That is something which drives a lot of value to everybody involved in the entire supply chain, from a single transaction to transactions which can happen in billions and like billions of dollars, or like whatever scale they want. Everything you have,
Okay. Amit, so what are the differences between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3?
Yeah, these are just mainly, technology and to some degree business model differences a little bit. So Web 1 was the original internet, right? When it started a few decades ago, websites, email, chat, right? These are all original internet platforms and functions. And then Web 2, which is, I guess, 2000s, mid 2000s onwards to about now, and it'll continue for a while, I guess, is these platforms that do gig economy type stuff, Airbnb, Uber, and so on. And the notion of the sharing economy, which I think is somewhat, of a misnomer because it's one-sided, right? It's extremely one-sided. But that's sort of what is called as Web 2, these current platforms, even Apple, Facebook, Google, all of these app stores, right? App stores, application stores, they're also part of that second wave of platforms. And the app economy itself is part of the second wave. And yeah, that's sort of where we are. Web 3 is crypto and blockchain powered ecosystems that have more of a transparent notion of certain data sharing and monetary transactions and things like that, auditability, but it doesn't necessarily solve all the other problems. But that's where the current internet is heading, which is sort of these decentralized, technically decentralized networks which can exist in these cryptographically secure environments called blockchains.
So, and who is this Web3 new technology geared towards, Amit?
Ultimately, like Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3, all of it is geared towards the same internet users, right? Like when we go to, you have an internet connection and you go to, depending on where you go, www.xyz.com, depending on where you go, you will experience Web 1, Web 2, or Web 3, right? So the bizarre thing is, ultimately, it should not matter, right? Why should my mom know what is it, Web 1 or Web 2 or Web 3? So she doesn't even know. Does she really care whether it's an Uber or a Lyft? Right? She cares whether the driver is nice to her, right? That's what's important. And if the car is clean. So you see, the function of the transportation is important. The implementation of it should be good, but it doesn't have to be specific. Nor does it have to be a $1 billion company who is, not really adding value to everybody. It could be just a neighborhood driver that does such a great job and everybody loves and has a happy, situation going because of everybody's needs. So the question is of going from point A to point B, or getting something delivered or whatever that might be. How we insert Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 into that is the complication.
Okay, so Kratika, this question is for you. Is it safer for a business person now to use this type of platform, considering we're giving so much of our information away?
Yeah, I think it's safer because the information has been, so you as a user, you are anyways giving your information away. So earlier with other platforms, what happens is that the information that you give is not being shared with the other stakeholders. Here, what is happening is that information is being shared, of course, with your permission. It's being shared with your permission, so it's safe. It's safe out here to use.
So it's an extremely private internet. What she means exactly by your permission is it's an opt-in first-party internet. There are no third-party listening cookies. There are no, nefarious like data selling and things like that. So first of all, the model is very simple. If you participate, right, then you choose to say that you can give me money for the activity that I will do, for the behalf of your community or whatever your network is on wherever I do it on the internet. I do it on Facebook, I do it anywhere. So because I'm opting in to doing that, I'm literally logging in and, you're giving me a wallet and saying you're going to give me money for doing these activities. This is how we are actually directly co-opting and building a network that is a cooperative movement of sorts, right? It's not some, what's happening today at all.
And how do we know exactly who we can trust? Let's say, for example, if it's Stripe, Square, with all the information we're giving away with our banking information and all that, how do we really know it's really them at the other end who are taking over our orders, whatever?
I mean, there are all kinds of security technologies that ensure that, like SSL and so many other things. So that particular issue is actually a solved problem, right? Like today, you order from a restaurant, you know you get it. Or if you're going to bank in a bank, you are going to check its veracity by the usual methods. So with Awake, we don't try to change that. What is different is that it's all digital and easy, and it's doable by anybody. So if I say that. I am so and so, and you can check my passport, then the passport is the authority, and we're just using that authority. We're not have to reinvent a new passport and say, use this passport, and I will then decide and give you the other based on this passport. No, we'll just say, tell me what passport you want to use, and I will decide if I respect the authority or not. And there are many authorities, right? There's tons and tons of authorities that you should respect. Authority like US government and driver's licenses and this and that are one of them. There may be others. You, in fact, are okay with a Facebook ID at a lot of times. It just depends on the context. And the internet should work for every context. You should be able to weave together whatever you want magically, like Lego blocks. You should be able to say, cool, I'll take Stripe's thing and I'll take this other thing and I should just, put it together. Why should it take 500 PhDs to design a website when it's 50-year-old technology? And now you're saying Web 4 and Web 5 and Web 50. I mean, it's crazy talk, right? So why don't we just make it simple? Why don't we create a platform that does what you mean, not even what you say, because a lot of times that's a problem, right? So, what you mean is a very simple thing. You want to do business on the internet. How complicated is that?
It shouldn't be.
It's not, right? So when we realize the simplicity in the so-called complexity, there is no complexity. There is only simplicity. So when you build a system based on natural order, which is, hey, we all want to come together, right? What's the problem? Let's all make money together. Let's just do all the things together. So what are those things? There are only like 20 things or 5 things, and that's about it. So forget about where we do it, on which platform, and Facebook and this and that, everywhere. How's that? Just on the internet. Anywhere where I can post a link or a content or share and invite. I mean, that's everywhere, right? So as simple as that.
Well, a lot of times I know that in 2 of my past relationships, I had my girlfriend or my wife. She would be going on Facebook and ordering things. Hey, order this, it's free. But then there's a fine writing this small that you don't read, and you start getting products at home. Hey, this is cool. It's free. And when you have a credit card that's pretty loaded up, you don't have the instinct to go see what's going on. For 8 months, I was getting free products at home. And then one day I just decided, what's this all about? So I started to investigate. They were charging me $168 a month. So it's that fine print you got to read. So this is what I mean, is that who you can trust. It looks so good. The rating is this big. It's free. Don't worry about it. I don't remember exactly what she was ordering, but there was a byproduct that came under. At Awake, we don't have that problem, I would presume, right?
It's because we have a better and a much more lucrative way to make money than to sell your data. Because data selling is like pennies on the dollar. I mean, it's like really small amounts of, you need to have like massive volumes of data, which we, of course, will have. But it's not the most, profitable thing to do, to be honest with you, right? Because what is it that the data is used for? Like you just said rightly, it's used to sell things. And why are they paying for the data in order to make you buy things? Is because they're going to make a profit. And in fact, the profit they're going to make is going to cover for the price of giving you this data. So they have a lot more money to be made there. Why the heck would I want to make money in the stupid cost way when I can make money in the upside?
But it's not a right way of doing business, because you're not going to last. After a while, people are going to start complaining. You're only going to make so much money.
In the sense?
Well, let's say like these. Go ahead, Kratika. Go ahead and add your thoughts on that.
No, so like with selling data, people are going to notice it. People are going to like as you did, that after, let's say, a few months, you get to know that, okay, this is where the problem is, this is what they are actually charging for. It's not like you can hide that fact or hide that fine print for a long time. People will get to know, and people will have an objection to it. If whenever you as a user feel cheated, you will of course have an objection and start refraining yourself from doing such activities again on the platform.
And what does decentralized mean in the world of technology, Kritika?
So decentralization technically means that the decision-making authority or the decision-making power is not at like one central entity. Everything, all the functions of a business, let's say if I give you an example from a business perspective, all the decision, every entity is being decentralized. That means that your ordering system and your payment system and your the website or the website maintenance, everything, they are all different pockets. They have their own decision making things, and there is a proper streamlined chain of input and output going in and out of every block, every functionality, and that's how you decentralize things.
And how did you and Amit meet?
So we met back in, I'm guessing 2020 to be precise, and we were discussing about how back then our entrepreneurial journey can collide and we can go on about a cohesive path. That's how we met, and that's how we collaborated, because both of us saw value in each other. We saw like personally, I saw a humongous amount of experience that I can expect, and as a business, this business model and these things have a affinity, have a very positive affinity towards them. And it, because it works on when someone gets benefited, the other people in the value chain also gets benefited. That concept somehow is a very positive, has a very positive affinity towards it, and that's how we got to know each other. That's how we started collaborating.
So, Kritika, what is your role at Awake?
So I'm managing marketing and operations at Shoptype. That involves all the day-to-day activities, and along with that, we also, me and Amit together, do a podcast on the Woke.VC, which involves a lot of topics in variety of fields, be it business models, be it like community, be it like how do you identify people on the internet, on in the digital world, a variety of that.
You're also a podcaster. And what is it exactly that inspired you to start your own podcast?
So we have a lot of things that needs to be talked about, and that I think with podcast, the interest comes from the information. The interest comes from the things that you want to share, things that might have a tendency to confuse you, things that are a little bit difficult to understand. Let's say a new trendy word, for example, Web3 comes in. Now you hear that word again and again on different platforms, but sometimes you get confused. Our podcast aims to resolve that. We try to talk about a lot of trendy words and get to the bottom of the things, and like inspire clarity on the topic.
And Amit, are you co-hosting the podcast with Kritika?
Yeah, I'm on the show. Yeah.
Okay, is podcasting for either or both of you something that you had foreseen a long time ago? Was it something you wanted to do for a while, and that now that you have this platform, you can actually get to do it?
I at least had no plans to do it.
So it just came about like that.
Like Kratika said, I think, it's about having to, explain ways of doing things which we have found to be very effective and easy compared to what people are talking about out there. I think Awake is really about simplification and simple made easy, which is something very complicated for a lot of people. To make something simple and also make it easy. And so we do that, and we need to be able to, really tell people the story of how they can also do it the same way. And we really eat our own dog food. Awake is building so many networks in our own venture model. So we are doing all of this because it benefits us. We know what we are building, and it is built to benefit everyone. That's the business model. So it's just something we felt would be very good to talk about, and that's how we got into it. But we had no plans.
So, Kritika, who is your audience, and what is it that you want to bring to them?
So our audience are usually budding entrepreneurs, people on the internet who are looking for information, starting something of their own, or even people who are in the business in the corporate world or in the business world already, and wants to get more information out of the trending things nowadays. So something which is someone who wants to do something on their own would be our ideal audience.
So, Kritika, how did you get into this venture? What is your educational background?
So from my education background is from mechanical engineering. I'm a mechanical engineer. I have a master's degree, and I got into entrepreneurship pretty early in my career. I think just 1.5 years doing a corporate job. After that, I started my own venture, and that's how I found my group. This is something. That's how I realized this is something I want to do.
So, and where is it that you studied exactly?
I studied from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. That's one of the pioneer institute in India for engineering.
Amit, what type of entrepreneurs do you seek, or have you seen that have gravitated to the Awake network?
Yeah, I think I would say real entrepreneurs. And what I mean by that is not the definition of entrepreneur where you go and start a company and you go raise money and you do all of that, in the valley, which is where I live right now. And I'm sick and tired of that definition of startups and definition of entrepreneurs. The real entrepreneur is very simple. You out of nothing comes something, and that has to have value to somebody else, and rinse and repeat. There's no need to go and raise money and claim yourself to be a startup and you're not an entrepreneur. Just doing what I said, which is already there. That's how it's done. So I want people that can understand that, can make something out of nothing, which means improvise.
So, is this like a huge department store for entrepreneurs?
It's a multiverse for entrepreneurs. Yeah, it's like that. It's like a giant membership club with the top intelligence tools, access to people, IP, and the future, access to the future.
And how can someone like myself, let's say I want to get involved, how do I get involved? Is there any fee? Is there anything I have to do in particular? What are the steps that I have to take to become a partner or a champion on the Awake network?
There are various ways of participating. So there are networks that are already live where you would just literally sign up and you're a co-seller out of the box. And if you start helping them, the communities, get it. So Alt Health, for example, althealth.me. I know you guys had a call with them already. One of the
Jeff
episodes.
Dennis.
Yeah, with Jeff Dennis. So if you join Alt Health today, you will get a wallet from Shoptype, the wallet I mentioned before, where anything you share from Alt Health's community. There's a beautiful social network there, lots of cool advice and sharings on various health issues and whatnot. So if you get involved and you're passionate about something, maybe you had a career in that or not, you want to have a career in that, or you're a brand participating in that ecosystem or whatever that you're doing, you get involved, share content there, you share your experience, expertise, you invite others, you become involved, and your wallet starts making money.
And for those who are curious out there, we invite you to go watch all of our shows that we had with Alt Health, and they're available on the Bobby Shorts YouTube channel. Click onto the noon hour out of the box playlist, and you can find all of our episodes there, including the pilot episode that we had with Jeff Dennis.
So that's one way you could do that, right? Like you're a co-seller, straight anywhere, everyone's a co-seller. The second thing you could do is, like I said, you have a brand, you have a Shopify store, you have something to sell. You connect that, so you become a business member of Alt Health or any other network. And the third way is to come to Awake and go to Shoptype, which is the engine that powers this, right? This magic, this wallet, this technology. You can launch a network yourself, in any vertical or community or industry or what have you that you wanted. And it's all self-serve. There's no cost to building and launching on this platform. You only pay when a sale happens. And really, everyone gets paid out of the commissions that the vendor pays actually when a sale happens. So the vendor pays a commission and everyone shares in that. And we also take a portion of that. It's 5%, that's our fee. And everyone else gets the remaining. So if there's 45% available, 40% available, 35 to 40% now becomes available to everyone, including networks that then share it onwards. So you could launch a network. You can apply to Awake to, about funding and other things that venture side of the business would need. But otherwise, the Shoptype technology platform is available to anyone. It's like a Shopify almost, but it's so much more, because it's now a network, a market network based on the wallet that you can now run your business on. And you can even start selling other people's products, right? Even if you're a vendor, without having a single cost or risk for those products, you now suddenly have margin expansion and product assortment that you wouldn't have before.
That's amazing.
So instantly out of the box.
Out of the box, I like that. As in noon hour out of the box. That's our show we have every Wednesday that I so proudly co-host with Esther Brzezinski. Kratika, during the pandemic, Jenny was our producer. Jenny was relating to me recently. She was saying that there was an explosion of online shopping. In fact, she has some friends at Canada Post who had to work 7 days a week because they couldn't keep up. Is this a trend, with COVID restrictions having eased quite a bit? Do you think that this is a trend that is here to stay, that people are just going to keep shopping online and like in the masses?
I think, yeah, it's going to settle with a combination of both online and offline, because with pandemic, people were forced to do everything online, including all the shopping from even the basic grocery things up to all the luxurious things that they wanted. And going forward, the trend is going to stay here, maybe with a combination of an offline and online thing. But the pandemic has definitely given a boost to e-commerce, to online shopping. And it has been there, it has created a hold in people that it's sometimes some things are easier online. And this is going to stay.
Definitely. Amit, so let's talk about cryptocurrencies. There are many forms of cryptocurrencies out there. There are hundreds, thousands. Which ones are the right ones?
I would say those that have real utility in the real world and have real usage. People are using it in the real world, not trading it and just that, right? That's the main differentiation. So Ethereum, for example, lots of apps, people are using it. So even though there's volatility, I mean, it's early days of crypto and all that. So there will be all of those things, but really the difference between rubbish coins and really good coins is their usage of that infrastructure that you're building, that leverages that, or it uses that coin for accessing it. So is there usage of your actual platform that you're powering with that coin? So that's the number one test, right? And then of course the second test is how much money is that particular platform generating, and how much of that money is being shared back to the token holders and things like that. So you would treat it like examining a regular business.
So, what are the benefits of using cryptocurrency in comparison to actual dollars and other forms of currencies? Why would one want to get into cryptocurrency?
I mean, why would somebody want to use it is often because you get some benefits from using it. If something costs $100 and you can pay for it with the regular US dollars versus something else, but it also is, $100 worth, for example, some other currency, you could do that as long as it doesn't cost you more, and maybe even costs you less. For example, there's a cashback when you use that particular currency, or you use the store credit card or whatever, right? Like that, you have some benefits that you are offered when someone wants you to do certain things certain way. So the issuer of the currency would give you benefits that you would not get by just using US dollars or equivalent. That's one example, one reason. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Kratika, according to Fortune.com, certain countries like China, Bangladesh, and most North African countries, 9 in all so far, have banned cryptocurrencies. Is there a reason behind that?
This majorly has to do with the regulation of cryptocurrencies, because since it's decentralized, it gives anybody the power to launch cryptocurrencies, launch their own coins, or do things. Certain governments, certain countries are. This is where the problem comes in, the regulation of the currency, and this is why few countries have regulated the use of cryptocurrencies, or even banned the use of cryptocurrencies there in their country.
So, Amit, who is running this online market? Is it run like 1% of the multi-billionaires that we have, the conglomerate, or will the average job be able to benefit from this type of currency?
The currency itself is meant to just be a currency, so as the technology becomes truly available and really decentralized, because today it's centralized in the sense that if you don't know enough about the complications and technology, specifics, you can't launch a currency, right? Like my mom's not going to launch a currency. It's not like she's going to go press a switch somewhere and that's how it happens. So until it becomes like that, it's still sort of asymmetric, and it only benefits those people who already know this stuff, like the existing tech universe and also some of the early adopters, right? But you had to be a technology person to do it. So that's currently the situation. There's lots of new crypto billionaires and whatnot that have become the new rich, right? It's not really changed anything, because it's treating money as if it's a store of value, not a transfer function. A transfer function means I can use any currency which is liquid in the forex market to buy a loaf of bread, $10 bread, say, just taking a round number, and you want to buy it with any currency, right? That is available as long as the price and all these things are satisfied, and the merchant gets his $10, his or her $10, we're good. So if that's the situation, then what exactly is the difference in the currencies? And the answer is none, because the person wanted $10, and it doesn't matter which currency you used, as long as it transferred over to $10. So it acts as a transfer function, not as a store of value. The value is the bread. The bread is the value, and you're using any currency to get that value, transfer that value from the merchant to you, and you're transferring them something. which they said is $10. You can use any currency you want, but you can. So the value is not in the currency actually, even though you can store lots of it and use it later. That's what they mean by stored value. But it's actually in the fact that it's liquid and you can use it for a given thing. In other words, people want it for something.
Now that we talked about crypto, let's talk about NFTs. What exactly are NFTs? And what is this currency used for?
Yeah, it's quite a controversial thing. NFTs are non-fungible tokens, and they are a form of crypto. For example, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, which 21 million tokens there's going to be, and all of them are fungible. One Bitcoin is the same as any other Bitcoin, and you can use any one. Doesn't matter. Like money, US dollars are fungible bills. It doesn't matter which bill. $1 bill is a $1 bill. You can give me any bill. So it's fungible versus non-fungible, which makes each token unique. It's not fungible. Each token is unique. And this property is used to represent scarcity, uniqueness. There's only one of this. There's only one Mona Lisa, the actual Mona Lisa, not the copies of the Mona Lisa, right? So the NFT is meant to, when used properly, represent this specific Mona Lisa, because it has encoded in it the correct authorities and the references to the verification people and the custodian who's the Louvre Museum and things like that. So that only that NFT that has gone through this process and is done by the official people who actually can in fact do it, because they are the people who own the Mona Lisa, the Louvre Museum. Only they can issue the actual NFT that represents the Mona Lisa, and it has in it encoded all of these things. But today you will see copies of the Mona Lisa floating around, millions of them, like not Mona Lisa, but perhaps all the other things, bored apes and whatnot, because it's not really done in the way that is I described before. It's an anonymous universe. It's decentralized, anonymous, totally full of scams, and nothing can be, verified there because it's anonymous. So is that the way anybody would do business? Will you go into a place that's totally anonymous and give them your money and expect something to come back to you?
Not really.
That's crazy, right? Do you think human beings are going to suddenly become transformed into some saintly beings because there is some blind marketplace where you can cheat anybody? That's crazy to think that that's what's going to happen, right? So that's absurd. So that's not the future. The future is authenticated. It has to be authenticated, by the people who are doing it and involved in it. I should be able to track back and know it is you. And even if you don't want to share personal information, there are ways in which you can guarantee that it is you through cryptographically securing your proof of identity and things like that. So I know it's you. I just don't know how. It's safe. It's secure. You will never lose your private information, but I can trust that I'm buying it from the right person, not the copy of the bored ape that there's millions of them and they're all getting scammed everywhere, right? And is there a benefit for OpenSea or any other network that's running that Web3 play to actually curb that, or do they not care and it's just like, I'll take a transaction fee for anything? Like Facebook, I'll just take a transaction fee for all the ads. I'll just keep doing that because what incentive, even if it's fake clicks and this and that, what incentive does Facebook have to fix that problem? They're actually benefiting from it.
So Jenny, our producer, suggested that I tune in and to a few of your segments on the AwakeVC network called Woketype.com, which is a community based on spirituality and well-being. Is there a sense of spirituality that is involved in technology? Kratika.
I think, I think there is. When you get into things, see, at the end of it, it's people. It's the people you are interacting with, or people that something is targeted toward being used by actual real people. And whenever a real person is involved, there is spirituality automatically that comes in.
Thank you so much for that answer. Amit, this one for you. If you were to pronounce your last words on earth at this moment, God willing, they aren't. How would your words hope to continue to inspire others to fulfill their dreams?
Oh, that's a big one. I would say that, it is to do what we are hoping people do, which is to wake up. And that's what Awake is about. It's about uh, waking up to your reality, waking up to who you really are and not who you think you are. Because even in a dream state, one thinks one is all the different people and whatnot that one experiences. But is that true? That's not true. You realize that when you wake up, that, wow, that wasn't true. That was a dream. And I can only say that you have to find out whether or not this is a dream. And then when you wake up from this dream, that's when you can really fulfill your every potential.
Kratika, the last question for you. How would you hope the Awake VC network would open the third eye of anyone who's connected to your vision?
The opening of the third eye is a very spiritual thing, and I would say that being simple, as Amit also mentioned, that turning every complex thing into being simple, being easy to do, that's something Awake in general is targeted towards. And when you remove all the complexity, you see it very, very clearly. What is it that you want to do and how you would do it? Even the complexity of the how are getting removed. That's when, as a business, you open your third eye and see things clearly.
Kritika and Amit, this hour has just flown by. Wow, it's just gone by so fast. Many, many thanks to both of you for joining us. And we wish much, much success to the AwakeVC network. I would like to extend a formal invitation to you both because we're going to be signing off our show right now. And then after the show, we would like to invite you for the traditional meet and greet after the show. You get to meet the producer and our tech producer, Patty. Is that an invitation that I can count on, that you're going to come backstage with us?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So stand by. We'll be doing that very soon. Stay where you are, guys. Thank you again.
Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. There you have it. We had our guests this evening, Kratika and Amit from the AwakeVC network. We have a very busy week ahead. Our producer, Jenny, and I will be guests along with film producer Teresa Pichano and Here Media music producer Herman Alves at the Portuguese Festival this coming Friday, June 17th at 6:30 at the Rialto. PKD advocate Luisa Mini Achidileo, that's PKD for polycystic kidney disease. She'll be at the Grand Prix Festival on Crescent Street in Montreal. And this should be happening this upcoming Saturday. We don't have a definite time, but we will be getting in touch with you. We're going to be broadcasting live on our show called Seriously Live. And finally, on the 18th of June, the very evening that we should be getting hooking up with Teresa, we're going to be attending a show where The Box, our good friend Jean-Marc Pesapia, the lead singer of The Box, was a guest on our show on episode 34. And for those of you who are not too sure who The Box are, shame on you. They're a band that sold many, many records back in the late 80s, and they're still going at it today. 40 years that the band is performing. Congratulations to you. They're going to be at Le Festival sur le Canal. They should be going live at 9 o'clock. And Jenny and I, and hopefully Esther, can join us. We will be broadcasting live with our amazing Patty on camera, who's going to be helping us with those duties, getting that live going. This upcoming Wednesday, we have an amazing show on Noon Hour Out of the Box that I host with Esther Brzezinski. And it's going to be all about infidelity. Do you forgive someone who cheats on you? Yes or no? Find out. Join us this upcoming Wednesday at noon. And you can also catch the extended version of Noon Hour Out of the Box on axisradio.ca. That's AXISradio.ca. Next week, we're going to be having another amazing guest, survivor Jenan Johnson. And to all of you people, thank you so much for tuning in to what was an absolutely delightful show. See you next week. Same place, same time, same reason. God bless everybody. Good night.